Hey guys, so let me turn my TV off real quick. Alright, so like I said, I'm gonna wait a few minutes here before I start this story and really kind of let people get in here. I hope everybody is having a good day. I know this has been a very anticipated kind of story. We're going to talk about Danny Masterson, and we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the 3 victims listed in the police reports. That's it. There is more to talk about with this case, and we of course will get there. Like I said, this is going to be a part 1. I'm going to do this every Wednesday. There's a lot to talk about when we're talking about this Danny Masterson case. It's not often we see a story bring in as much kind of weird influences as this one has brought in. I mean, like I said, I'm going to let a few more people get in here, guys, and then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. And I will start. I have quite a few pages of notes here. I was actually hoping to get a little bit more written, but it's all good. Alright guys, so we'll get into this now. I hope everyone's having a good day. The way this is kind of structured is I have segment, and then I have a little bit of time for some free talk in between each kind of segment. This way it gives me a little bit of a break, and it lets me interact with you guys. So let's get started. I know. So, this story has become all too common lately. A famous actor accused and charged with rape. Another story that has become all too common is a church who protects its high-profile members of the clergy, etc., of these heinous sex crimes. However, rarely do we see both jaw-dropping headlines play out in one situation. The Danny Masterson story provides all of that and then some. On Wednesday, June 17th in the late morning, Masterson was arrested. A few hours later, he was released on $3.3 million bond, and he will be arraigned on September 18th. District Attorney Reinhold Mueller of the Sex Crimes Division of the LAP of LA said all the allegations happened in Masterson's house. Masterson has maintained his innocence this whole time, and he is also facing a civil suit, which he calls beyond ridiculous. The Church of Scientology, who is also named in the civil lawsuit, called the lawsuit baseless. The lawsuit accuses Masterson and the Church of Scientology of stalking, physical invasion of privacy, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and one of the victims, Chrissy Blixer, says she had to put her dog down after it was poisoned with rat poison and raw meat, accusing the church and Masterson of playing a role in that. Masterson has called the suit a shameful money grab. Blixer, Marie Riles, and 2 other James Does who have filed the lawsuit have been relentlessly attacked from Masterson and his attorney, Andrew Brittler. Brittler has argued that the relationships were consensual and that the claims are entirely meritless, calling the women delusional, saying they have seemingly convinced themselves that everyday inconveniences that are commonplace in large cities, such as having trash cans go missing or finding their car doors open, are part of a larger conspiracy against them by the church at the direction of one of their practitioners. He continued to say, lawsuits do not get much more far-fetched or anti-religious than this one. Tony Ortega, who has been a long-time watchdog of the Church of Scientology, first reported on the 3 victims March 3rd of 2017. The victims came forward after reaching out to Leah Remini, former Scientologist and host of Scientology in the Aftermath. So that's the end of that. This gives me a little free talk, and I'm going to explain to you guys a little bit about who Leah Remini is, so for those of you guys that don't know, she was in King of Queens. She played Doug Heffernan's wife, Kevin James co-star on King of Queens. She's an author. If you haven't read her book Troublemaker, it is actually a pretty good read. I read it myself, which calls out the Church of Scientology on a lot of stuff. And Tony Ortega, who I referenced, like I said, he is the watchdog. I like King of Queens. It's okay. Not everyone likes sitcoms and stuff like that, though. But Tony Ortega, who has really been the lead watchdog, along with others such as Chris Shelton and Stephen Mango, they have really kept the pressure here on the Church of Scientology. All right, sorry. I have this broken into sections to give me breaks. This isn't an easy thing to talk about. This is kind of disturbing, and it only gets more disturbing. The first victim, who has been identified as Christy Blixer, said she was in a relationship with Masterson for 6 years. Police documents show she alleges Masterson had anally raped her and injured her while she was unconscious in December of 2001. She says she went to the church and she was punished for being victimized. She was put on ethics as punishment and threatened to be declared an SP, which is a suppressive person, if she went to the police while she says nothing happened to Masterson. So an SP in the Church of Scientology is like being declared an apostate in most churches, so you guys know. It's not a good thing. It's basically being excommunicated. And you lose everything within the church when that happens. So Blixer says she came forward when she noticed she wasn't the only victim of Masterson. In 2017, she filed a police report along with 2 other women. One of the women had actually come forward in 2004. The church was able to silence Blixer, but she ended up leaving Masterson 2 months after the ordeal. To me, the most disturbing and maybe the most eye-opening part of this is that when she confronted Masterson after the rape, while bleeding from her anus, she reports that Masterson had laughed at her and told her that he had had sex with her while she was sleeping, seeing nothing wrong with it. If that statement is true, then that might just be a look into Masterson's mindset. He feels like he is untouchable, and he can do whatever he pleases, which sets the stage for our second victim. Victim B's story is a little bit different, in that she filed a police report in 2004, not long after her rape took place. However, if these accusations hold true, then it is just a deeper look into how messed up Masterson is otherwise known by his DJ name, DJ Donkey Punch, which, if you guys understand that reference, then it's disturbing in itself. Victim B went to a party at Masterson's house that he was DJing. According to the witness statement, the witness continues saying she arrived sober and said Masterson had made her a drink and forced it upon the victim. Later, it was revealed that Jenny Weinman, who is Masterson's publicist, by the way, had brought Victim B to the party. Later that night, it is reported that Masterson announced Victim B was going swimming and threw her into the pool. The witness said, although she was visibly upset, the victim had said she was okay. She was given a towel to dry off. When Masterson had approached her to bring her upstairs, she had refused. The witness says Masterson was unsuccessful in getting her upstairs at first. It wasn't until later that night, as the party was dying out, that the witness heard a commotion coming from Masterson's bedroom. The victim had run out of the room terrified, with a scared look on her face, and said frantically, "Oh my God, Danny just raped me," and was crying. In the police report, it says Victim B was passed out and woke up to Masterson having sex with her. And when she struggled to fight him off, he choked her until she passed out again. The witness says everyone at the party were Scientologists, and they pretended like nothing happened. saying she just had too much to drink. They led her to Masterson's bedroom to sleep it off. Just wow. Just wow. 2 days later, the witness was called into the ethics office at the Celebrity Center and was told, the victim that had too much to drink, that Masterson had done nothing wrong and that the victim was being handled. She was handled by auditor Angie LeClaire, who was the Celebrity Center auditor. Like I said, she filed a report June 6, 2004. And by July 2004, LAPD had informed the victim that they were bombarded, in their own words, by Masterson and his attorney and the Church of Scientology, who sent numerous affidavits of people going against her claims. December of 2016, she had gone through... I'm sorry, not December of 2016. December of 2003, she had gone through auditing with Masterson, where she was locked into a room. And she was directed to give Masterson her side of the story. As she told Masterson her side of the story, Masterson apparently, to the disgust of the 3 Scientology officials in the room, had laughed at her and made jokes at her expense during this. Once again, proving he felt like he was untouchable. Alright, so there's one more victim to get through here, guys. This is tough to talk about. It's tough to read. But it needs to be done, and it's eye-opening stuff when an entire religion kind of works against a single person like this. It is definitely some very eye-opening stuff. So let's get into the third victim here. The third victim, we're going to call her Victim C because we don't have her name either, said she met Masterson at a party, and Masterson was flirting with her and staring at her intently. He said that he texted her to come over now. He would order her around often this night. She thought that if he was into her, she should take her out. And instead, another day, he texted her to come over, have a glass of wine, and get in my jacuzzi. And she responded, "I do not want to do that." After prodding from Masterson, she reluctantly agreed. As she opened the door to Masterson's house, Masterson shoved a glass of wine in her face and commanded her to drink it. He then led her to the back of the house where the jacuzzi was and demanded her to take off her clothes and get in. She said she refused, but after the glass of wine Masterson had gave her, she had felt really tired and drunk. She didn't remember much that night. She didn't remember being in the jacuzzi. The next thing she remembers was coming to in Masterson's shower, telling Masterson that she did not want to do this. She then later remembers being on Masterson's bed, where she says she came to and she struggled, and as she struggled, she remembers him flipping him. And as she I'm going to read this direct quote from her. It gets disturbing. So I'm going to read this direct quote. "The next memory was on his bed. He was flipping me over and just started pounding me. I was trying not to vomit. I said no like 50 times, but it was just sort of happening. I was saying no a lot, but it didn't matter to him. I kept trying not to puke on his bed while he was doing it. It was pretty brutal. I said no 50 fucking times, but he wasn't listening. and it was really horrible the way he was doing it. It was confusing to me what had happened. I misunderstood for so long what it was, because he didn't hit me, and I didn't realize it was rape for a long time. She says Masterson never tried to see her again. He never tried to contact her again. It made her feel disposed. She had previous experience dealing with Church of Scientology, as she once dated a Scientologist. And she knew how that would go, so she chose not to approach the church. She didn't come forward until 2017 with the other witnesses. It's some pretty disturbing stuff, guys. Like I said, it's too much to do it all in one night. It's truly just some heinous stuff. And, you know, it's nothing we haven't seen before, you know, when we're talking about celebrities and actors who abuse their power, right? We've seen this before. Or religions when they... I'm sorry, I was reading the comment. Or religions when they protect priests or protect members from raping children or raping other people. This is nothing new. This case ties in both worlds. And that's what makes this case so unique. Because it was Masterson using the Church of Scientology to silence the victims. It was the Church of Scientology willingly silencing the victims. Because they, you know, they want to protect faith. Now, at this point, I do have to say, Danny Masterson denies all of these claims. Every single one of them. He has maintained his innocence this whole time. The Church of Scientology also denies these claims. And they have maintained their innocence the entire time. But, is it possible this is all one coincidence? You know, due process will have its day. Danny Masterson will have his day in court. These victims will have their voices heard. We've seen this happen time and time again, but it's a different era now. You know, living in the post-Me Too movement world, I think that there's a good chance that Masterson goes away. He's looking at 45 years to life in prison right now. So, at minimum, he's looking at 45. And of course he's going to deny these claims. Of course the church is going to deny these claims. That's not really the question here. And these are only the 3 victims listed. Alright? There's up to 7 victims now that have come forward that I will speak about later on. Guys, this is not something we're going to let through. There is much more to talk about. There's more details to talk about in these cases individually to give them the respect they're due. And I will do that because this is a disgusting thing. It's absolutely vile. People who do stuff like that are not human. The fact of the matter is, he's rich and he's white, and the justice system is seemingly on his side. But I think we have to have faith here. I hope justice prevails. I hope he spends the rest of his life behind bars. And as someone who is a huge fan of that 70s show, I am just disturbed at all of this. And these happened between 2001 and 2003 when that 70s show was in its heyday. It just amazes you what could be happening behind closed doors, oblivious to everybody else. And I think that this really, you know, as we keep diving deeper every week into the Danny Masterson story, I am not a psychologist. I know a couple therapist friends and stuff on my Facebook I want to bring in to really dissect his mindset, to dissect this mindset instilled in him from the church as a lifelong Scientologist. It's no different than a lifelong Jehovah's Witness or an Amish person. They grew up in that environment. They're indoctrinated in that environment. Am I saying he's a victim here? Absolutely not. But this isn't an all too uncommon case when you're talking about these high control religions. Just look at what's going on with the Jehovah's Witnesses in Australia. And maybe that's something we can touch on if you guys don't know what's going on. They've been getting fined every day. I don't know what the total fine's up to, but it's been for a few years now that they refuse to hand over this list of sexual predators within the church. And they still have refused to do it because they have the money. They have the power. When you have the money, you have the power, you're untouchable. And that is the thought process. That is what led Danny Masterson to commit these crimes. That is what leads people to do stuff like this. No, but the girl that plays Donna, Laura something, I can't pronounce her last name, but she actually converted to Scientology because of Danny Masterson. So none of the cast of that 70s show has ever accused Danny Masterson of anything. However, that is an interesting question because I wondered the same thing while I was reading, because Mila Kunis, when the show started, was only 14 years old. So, or was it 16? Yeah, I can't pronounce that. I am definitely not even going to try to pronounce that. But yeah, and she's in Orange is the New Black, I think, even though I haven't really seen it. But yeah, so this is some scary stuff, and we're going to keep diving deeper into Danny Masterson. And I think it's important we do it. Accountability is an important thing. Tomorrow, I will go live after my court date. I have court at 9:30 in the morning, me and all the other people that got arrested the second day of the protest for being out past curfew. We have court at 9:30 in the morning. I will go live after from downtown. Friday and Saturday, we're going to do a deep dive. Friday night, I'm going to touch on Pizzagate, so we can do this Wayfair story, so people just kind of have a base. And Saturday, we'll do Wayfair and talk about what's going on, because there's a lot of stuff going on. These are, you know, conspiracy theories. I didn't want to be known as that conspiracy guy, but yes, I can research what auditors do. I got you, Jesse. You know, and I hate saying it, because I know there's gonna be some people upset at me for this video, because I have friends within the Church of Scientology. But yes, we will dive into that. We will dive into what an auditor is next week. I could try to explain it, but I couldn't do it justice. If you've ever read the book Dianetics, I have it right here. Oh, so many books. Anyway, it's somewhere in my pile of books. If you've ever read the book Dianetics, it's all in that. And yes, I have, yeah, Leah Remini. Yeah, I have watched Leah Remini, Scientology Aftermath. I read her book. But yeah, guys, so I'm going to log off for this. This is a disturbing topic. We will touch up on it again next week, and we'll do a part 2, and we'll keep going through this until... I literally have a box of books next to me, and I'm pretty sure it's all the way at the bottom. I don't feel like digging through. But I'm going to read that. Well, I don't know if I'm it's a giant book. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read it within a week. But I'll at least touch up on the auditor portion. We'll catch you guys up what auditors are and what the Church of Scientology's whole role in this was and what the cover-up of it was. Because I think that's where most of the interest is. I'm excited too, Jess. I'm excited too. I think this is a good... It's hard for me to talk about. I don't know if you guys can tell. It genuinely hurts for me to talk about this stuff. And when I'm reading it, it's hard not to cry. But, guys, it's tough. It's some disgusting shit. But you guys have a great night. I love you guys. I'm going to take a shower, watch 2.5 Men. You guys have a great night. Goodbye.